Well, well, looks like our new pal took my response to him kind of personally. Let's do this. So one of my major arguments against religion is the way that there is this clear opposition to science by religion. I mean, science has a tendency to prove religion wrong about how the world works. A lot. Especially in recent years. And so there is a tendency on the part of the religious to reject science because as far as they're concerned, religion has to be right. God can never be wrong. And so if science ever proves religion wrong, then science has to be evil or something, and so they reject it. And then ZealousLemon here decides to respond to my criticism of religion thusly.
I like how you worded that. There are a lot of religious people that are prejudiced. Well, it could also be argued that there are a lot of religious people that are not prejudiced. Do you see where I'm going with this?
I see you equivocating. The fact is that these prejudices are built into the holy books. These phobias are built into, be it the Torah, the Quran, the Bible, whatever holy book it is, they're built in. To still be religious and to reject those prejudices, those phobias, you have to cherry pick parts of your favorite holy book. But it doesn't change the fact that they are in there. So while I see where you're trying to go with this, it's somewhere that ultimately leads to a brick wall.
Right, so you've made up your own word here, science-phobic. So I think that warrants me to make up my own little word. I'm going to call it faith-phobic, and I'm going to apply it to you. Now, both words, although made up, offend people, and they offend two different sides of the same coin. One that is religious and won't accept science, and one that is atheist and won't accept religion.
Ah, but you see, you're completely wrong right off the top, at least with regard to me. Because while I am indeed against using faith as a tool for trying to know anything, I am not afraid of it, that's for sure, and I am not rejecting religion out of hand. If a religion were to prove itself true, using facts instead of faith, using something more akin to the scientific method, I could potentially become a member. Now, I'm not saying I'd necessarily support that religion. I might still find it disgusting and contemptible. But then again, I might not. You never know. So, while I am against faith, I'm not necessarily anti-religion. Now, that's never minding the part where phobic tends to imply fear. And I'm not afraid of faith. What I feel towards faith is something closer to contempt or ridicule or sarcasm, but I'm not afraid of it. I might be afraid of what people do in its name, but I'm not actually afraid of the actual act of using faith itself. Fear is not the emotion I feel. Now, okay, granted, phobic technically covers more ground than just fear, but still. So, right there, your word doesn't work exactly. It certainly doesn't apply to faith the way phobia applies to science when I point to religious people and say they're science-phobic. It's just not the same. It seems to me that right now what you're doing more than anything else is trying to hit back after having been criticized, rather than actually having any kind of rational discussion. Just saying.
Now, I don't believe either of them to be right. Not only that, but I think it's a pointless activity because you're fighting fire with fire. And which side of this coin is supposed to be more intelligent? Well, I would hope to think it's the atheist side. Although I don't believe atheism should be anti-religion. It should be pro-fact.
Then you're expecting too much of atheism. Because nothing is built into the term. Not like that. The only thing you say when you say I am an atheist is I don't believe in God. The only thing you are saying is I am not a theist. That is 100% what it means when you say I am an atheist. Anything else may be implied, certainly, and I wish that people came to atheism because of facts. Of course I do. But being an atheist could be just as faith-based as being a theist. There's no controlling that. Someone could go, they believe there's a God, I don't, and that's it. And they may have no more reason for it than the theist has for believing in God. It could be entirely wishful thinking. So, as much as I'm actually on board with you and saying I wish that atheism was about finding facts and wasn't necessarily anti-religion, well, it doesn't work that way. All atheism is not being on board the God team. That's it.
I also have plenty of friends who fit those letters, and none of them have had a problem since high school. Why? Because I live in a big city.
Which only confirms what a lot of people in my comment section were saying, is that you've led kind of a sheltered existence, that there's just experiences you've never had. Try coming over to the United States. I mean, okay, granted, I've always lived in tolerant parts of this country, and yet I've still seen some pretty rampant homophobia coming out of the religious communities. So, I'm sorry, but it just seems to me that you need to open your eyes a bit more. You need more experience before you can really comment as you have been. Just saying. I mean, no offense meant, you just gotta get out more.
Now, I admit some places in the world will be much different, but that's something to be fought individually. Homophobia is not part of religion.
Really? Is that what you think? King James Bible, Leviticus 18:22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is abomination. Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. No homophobia? Really? There's homophobia rampant in religion, kiddo. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where you're looking, but you're completely wrong. Factually incorrect on this particular point.
In fact, if I could think of a word for grouping a large group of people by a small group of people within that large group of people, I would apply it to you. Oh, I think that word is prejudice.
Well, much as I hate to say it, I've got a couple of choice good words for you right now. Spoil, sport, and ignorant are the ones that fit the bill. I mean, I hate to say it. Fortunately, both of those are correctable. Just saying.
But is it prejudice, or is it religion that is making your life worse? I'd argue the former, and that's something to be fought because it is wrong. Religion, however, is not something to be fought because it has a lot of good points within it.
That doesn't mean religion isn't something that needs to be fought. I mean, if you look at it a certain way, breaking speed limit laws has benefits, has good points. That doesn't mean it's a good thing to do. That doesn't mean it's something you should do. Just because something has good points doesn't mean that those good points are not overwhelmed by the bad. And there is plenty bad in religion. I mean, for starters, it's built on a lie. It's built on faith, a fantasy, a fairy tale. At the very least, religion is not proved to be true with facts, logic, reason, and evidence. And yet, people let it consume their entire lives, let it drive so many of their decisions. Does that seem right to you? Does that seem logical or reasonable? Because it sure doesn't to me. And right there, that's something that would make me fight religion. Never mind the homophobia that's built into it. And I know you think it isn't, but I read you those passages out of Leviticus, and that's a tiny, tiny sampling of the homophobia in religion. You can find tons of it. I know you don't think it exists, but it's there. And religion has lots of other ways that it either changes our perception of the world or tells us we should behave that honestly are not beneficial. Religion is not this bastion of wonderfulness you seem to think it is. Religion is to be fought because it makes our lives measurably worse.
Now, the war in the Middle East is clearly about corrupt power. It's not about religion. Religion is merely a tool used to control people.
So it's about corrupt religious power, then. It's not contradicting what I said, kiddo.
And if they didn't have religion, they'd use something else. So I don't think it's at all about religion.
Oh, come now. You have to see that that's equivocation. You have to. Because the fact is that you cannot divorce people from religion. And these people genuinely believe in their religion. They're doing what they're doing in the name of religion for real. They mean it. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe it's also a corrupt power play, but that doesn't mean that they're lying about being religious, because they're not. And honestly, in some ways this is making me question your atheism. I mean, okay, maybe you don't believe in God, so technically you're an atheist, but you seem to believe that religion can do no wrong. I mean, that's the way you're acting anyway. I mean, if there's ever anything done in the name of religion that we would consider bad, well, no, that's just people screwing it up, but religion is always A-okay. That seems to be the impression you're giving, whether you mean to or not. And so, as much as you say you're an atheist, it sure seems to me that there's a soft spot in your heart for religion. Just saying.
The Nazis were a political party that were against religion, specifically Judaism, much like yourself, no?
See, at first I thought you were interested in genuine, honest-to-goodness, back-and-forth, rational, reasonable discussion, but it seems that you'd rather resort to ad hominem attacks. I mean, you basically just resorted to Godwin's law, comparing your debate opponent to Hitler. That's amazingly pathetic. My goodness. And after all, those of us who are saying, wow, believing in that religious tradition kind of beggars logic and probably ought not to be done. Yeah, we're the equivalent of people who say, wow, we hate you, let's shove you into ovens. Yeah, that's exactly right. Pathetic.
All in all, what she was saying in her video was that she doesn't like to be subject to prejudice, which is completely and utterly understandable, but religion isn't to blame for prejudice, and you're stereotyping religious people by saying that it is.
And I've already shown you why this is completely wrong. I mean, from homophobia to atheism to apostasy, there are plenty of passages in the King James Bible alone, never mind other religions, that show exactly how not falling in line with the religious tradition will doom you forever. How those prejudices are built into the religion. They're not just things that people came up with on their own that aren't built into the faith. So, I'm sorry, but you're wrong on that score.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Dislike and post loads of weird comments below. I know you will. Thanks. Bye.
Until next time, fellow space travelers, don't run on automatic. Instead, please, think. Please take the time to rate this video. And hey, if you dig what I do, subscribe. And please visit my Zazzle store, where you'll find all kinds of BionicDance merchandise. I'd rather be an atheist smartass than a religious dumbass.